Now for a movie rant break, One Up presents a movie rant break.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the movie rant break. Welcome back to another episode. Got episode 205 here with a returning guest. I got John Smith in the building.
Hey, you already know what the fuck going on. We in this bitch.
Okay, so thank you for joining me on this episode.
Of course.
And he is in town, but also me and John Smith reviewed the first Joker film. And
This is true.
instead of saying the title or whatever the fuck this title is, I'm just going to say Joker 2. I'm not going to say that's stupid, whatever the fuck it is.
I still don't know what it is.
I still don't care. So we're just going to get right into this and get down to business because I know that's why you guys are here. You want to hear what the fuck going on in the business. So Joker 2. It had Todd Phillips reprising his director role, written by Scott Silver, Todd Phillips, produced by Todd Phillips, Emma Tillinger, Koskoff, Joseph Garner, starring Joaquin Phoenix, Lady Gaga, Brendan Gleeson, Catherine Keener, Zazie Beetz, Steve Coogan, Harry Lottie, Leigh Gill, cinematography Lawrence Sher, edited by Jeff Groth, music Hilder, holy fuck, I don't know how to say that, my bad, Guanadator. There's all these the English language does not use these
we need a visual.
I'm sorry.
Put the visual on screen for the edit.
It's crazy though. It's a Warner Brothers film released October 4th. Sorry Hilder. Runtime 138 minutes. Budget is 190 to 200 million. Box office currently with 2-3 weeks. Wait, it came on the 4th. Today's the 21st. That's 17 days. So 2.5 weeks ago, and it's at 191.9 million. Ooh. And that's still surprising to me. But the original did over $1 billion. And yeah.
The sequel no one wanted.
Yeah. The plot of this film, brief breakdown, it takes place, is it 2 years after the incidents of the first film?
I have no idea what the timeline is.
It's after the events of the first film, actually. I don't really care, to be honest. I thought it was 2 years, though. But anyways, Joker, a.k.a. Arthur Fleck, is in prison waiting to his trial and the events leading up to the trial and then the trial itself. That's pretty much it. That's what's going on.
That's the whole plot.
That's it, unfortunately. I was going to say something else. Oh, reception. Do you want to know what reception was for Joker 2? You want to know what the people said?
Yeah, sure.
Actually, we'll wait to the end.
All right. Then we know. Not yet. I don't want that yet.
Yeah.
Don't give it to me yet.
And before we get into this, I'm trying to get to it, but I also just wanted quick big ups to the original Joker film because, like I said, we had reviewed it previously. I gave it an 8.4. You gave it a 7.9. It's been 5 years since that film. And I like the setting, and I appreciated what Todd Phillips and the ensemble was doing, taking place in allegedly the 80s setting of Gotham. I kind of like that with a lot of 50s undertones, and I kind of fucked with that. It was really dark, and I feel like they took an overall fairly overused character world and setting, DC, Batman, Gotham, Joker, and they still made it feel original and made the Joker character more interesting and more depth to it. And I think that's what gravitated everybody to the film. Would you agree?
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely a different take on the character. It was almost like a taxi driver version of Joker, and
yeah, that's actually a good.
I think it had this mystique around it too. Where is this going to go, and what does this mean? And if they never did a sequel, it would have still stood high as a wow. I don't know. There's so much left for interpretation, and I think that's what made it interesting. and you didn't really know what the character was going to do and where it was going to go from there. So made it good.
Those are all great points. I agree. I mean, it was overall, I think, also really unorthodox and made you uncomfortable at times. Some of the scenes between the violence or just the awkwardness was really captivating and just engaging. Little things like the medical card that explained his condition. I really liked that. I thought that was really well thought out and had some some reason behind the madness, and just develop the character a little further than what we knew is, from the cartoons and what have you.
Yeah, I also think that they just did a really phenomenal job at making really iconic moments in that film.
Well,
like there's still moments right now that you could see in that film in your head, just like, when he puts the mask on for the first time, or when he stabs the dude in his apartment, and like
the interview at the end.
There's just so many iconic moments in that film that like live in infamy.
I would agree. I mean, I liked how you also kept guessing that film with the twist with the girl. You thought he like somehow bagged her, and just like his delusions. It was just you were like in the head of Joker, and I really loved it. I thought it was a great script and great execution overall. I mean, I think most people know it at this point. That's seen it and what have you. But and talking about the end sequence there, it's iconic. I thought that was the best scene in the movie, where he's on the Murray Franklin show at the end of the film, and he murders him on TV, and there's a monologue prior to that you kind of empathize, and I think it made sense where he's talking about how terrible people are in society, and I just think there was that anti-hero aspect that just made you like the character even more.
Yeah,
because I think people are pieces of shit too, and people don't give a fuck about people. So you're like, yeah, and I felt like it made sense that there was riots and people standing behind this idea of the Joker, because it's a joke out here. People don't really give a fuck about nobody, and just that whole sequence where on TV blasts him in that monologue, and there's just a lot of underlying truths in the film that I connected with, and I think a lot of people did, and I think a lot of people that don't connect with it don't maybe connect with it, you know what I mean? But I think that's what a big element is that helps rise it past just the shock value or the unorthodox elements.
Yeah, I agree, and it all around cinematography was beautiful in that film, and just the fact that they could make this world that we're so familiar with like a rated R version that's dark and grounded, like you had said. It just gave you a completely different perspective on a character. I don't particularly think anybody ever really wanted an origin story of the Joker. I don't think that was something that anybody really desired. So that I think was a little bit interesting. And my biggest critique, like I had said in our previous episode of the first Joker, was just that like this wasn't a Joker film. Like it was the old one.
Oh,
it was like a film that somebody wanted to make about a mentally ill person that was going through struggles in their life, abuse and everything, the system, bad people, and had a psychotic break and was twisted and went on a murdering spree. Like you could have done that exact story without using the Joker and Gotham, and it would have been the same exact movie. There's literally no difference. And so that's like my biggest fundamental issue with it to begin with, is just that they're using this brand almost as a way to be able to put the movie that they wanted to create on a platform that would get a bigger audience because it's with names that people are familiar with. Like that movie wouldn't have done $1 billion if it wasn't Joker. It would have done maybe 500 mil, maybe 400 mil, maybe 300 mil if it was just a guy, right? And that's like the biggest issue I had with the first film. And I think that carries over to the second film in a lot of ways, if not even more ways in the second film.
100%. We can just take it from there. Like, I have a great segue, and I agree. I didn't feel the same way in the first one. I don't remember what I said to that remark, but I liked and thought they did a cool job with kind of just having a couple things that just made it feel familiar. But I can see the point where you're saying they're just kind of utilizing a name. But this film definitely felt very much like that.
I mean, I think it proved the point that was the case of the first film. It's like, this is a movie that clearly Todd Phillips wanted to make, right?
Yeah.
It was like when you put your creative ideas and creative process above the actual content itself.
I feel like it was almost creative, like aspirations, almost.
Yeah,
like,
I think aspirations is a better word. It's like they wanted to do, clearly they wanted to do this thing in a movie so bad. And they were like, we made $1 billion on the last film. Now I can do it and not have it flop because I have set myself up to be able to do what I want on a film. And I don't know particularly why. I think Todd Phillips is phenomenal. I mean, he's made some of my favorite movies of all time. Like, I love War Dogs.
He's a great
I
director.
love Hangover. Like, Hangover's phenomenal. I think it's one of the best comedy movies of all time, right? And
Big statement.
and I mean, it's all perspective, and I think timing wise, like that was like, you know, a perfect time of my childhood, or my teenage years, I should say. But yeah, like it's clearly a situation where he had this desire to create some strange musical drama with mental illness and, you know, abuse, etc. And he was like, I can do it now because I have this money to play around with, and I'm not going to completely bomb when I put this out because I already made $1 billion in the last movie.
Yeah, no, and I read some things that was maybe his motivation, like creative aspirations, so to speak, and utilizing the platform now that he's essentially helped build. But
it does a massive disservice to the fans of the franchise. It's like you have people who are fans of Gotham and fans of Joker and fans of Batman, and you're taking the thing that they love and making it into what you want it to be. And that works in some scenarios, but when you go this far away from your fan base, you veer this far away from the people that actually give a shit about the content that you're putting out, you just do your whole fan base a disservice. That's why this movie's flopping right now. That's why no one wants to see it. That's why the word of mouth, every single person I talked to, all the way to my mom, said, I heard this movie sucked, right? I mean, it's word of mouth is, we were just talking about, word of mouth is the most powerful tool when it comes to marketing still to this day. And if you do something that your fan base is not going to like, what do you expect is going to happen? And maybe they didn't care. I don't know. But
I know the studio did. Warner Brothers cared, but
they cleared it. They have to clear it.
I think you had to after being in the top 100 highest grossing films of all time. You have to be like, okay, I trust you. You made so much money. Go for it. But I think with the notion of having a, you know, air quote, musical or music element or like heavy music themed aspects in the film, I think you could have had a couple scores in there. I think the way the oversaturation of breakout and song situations was just so over the top, because one of my favorite movies is The Wizard of Oz, and it's a musical, I guess, so you would consider it. And it is not disruptive, and it helps progress the story, and it's engaging, and they're actually good songs, like, and they're iconic as fuck, like some of the most iconic songs ever. And granted, you know, Wizard of Oz is in its own category, you could say, because it's one of the best films of all time. It's facts. But if you're gonna add these scores in there, I'm okay with that. There was 2 in there. Because let me just back up. I think I counted roughly 11-ish songs, like pretty much full songs in the movie, which is an astounding number to go from a movie that was no songs to 11, plus other singing segments that went for like 15, 30 seconds. So there was a fuckload of singing, and it was disruptive to scenes in the progression of the story. And it was funny at times in a bad way because it was so forced.
Oh, 100%. And I will say, like, Todd Phillips and team's utilization of music in the first film was phenomenal.
They did.
It was great. Like, even when the violin starts playing, he's dancing in the bathroom, or when he's dancing on the stairs, like, all of those moments were like amazing moments in that film. It's like he took that and he said, I want to run with this. And you're 100% right. In Joker 2, because I refuse to say that French name, I don't know how to say it. In Joker 2, you're literally just disrupting the plot. And this is my biggest fundamental problem with this movie, is we got nowhere we took no steps in a direction whatsoever. We went from start to finish. Even Arthur Fleck didn't grow as a character or change as a character. He started a lonely, alone piece of shit that is mentally ill and murders people at the beginning at the beginning of the first film, and all the way to the end of this film. We're in the same boat. He's dead and lonely and has nobody. No character progression whatsoever.
He ended up where he started.
Exactly.
Which is like, in some contexts, is okay. In this case, like you were saying, where the openness of what could happen after the first movie was the part of the excitement, and they just did nothing with it, and it was really disappointing.
I mean, we spent the entire film in a courthouse and in a prison. Like, I am utterly disturbed at the fact that I spent 2 hours and some change in a movie theater and was only consuming content that was taking place in 2 places. It was brutal, dude. It was absolutely brutal. And they even had to flash back to the last film just to get those iconic moments back because they know they had none in this movie. It was like they did like 6 or 7.
Well, I will say the ending, and I want to get the ending is something we talked about, but I want to finish talking about this music shit because the ending is like I want to talk about it because I on that point. I think the ending, if there was an idea that I had that I wanted to explain that I think would be cool to spin off this, but I agree with you, and I think just the plot and script was not good, and it was slow, and it was not the trajectory of the Joker that we wanted, obviously, and it was literally a drawn out Law and Order SVU fucking musical movie. It was essentially what it was.
Yeah, I mean, you could have just made like you could have just made, well, first of all, I guess before I even say that, what you should have done with this film is have the moment where the side of the courthouse blows up happen in the first 30 minutes of the movie.
Agreed.
If you take all the music, I mean, how much runtime of actual storyline did we have? And you look at that from a perspective, and it's like, it was maybe an hour, if that. Like, the music took up a lot of time.
It might have been 90 minutes because it was over 2 hours. Because the first that was what was weird at the beginning of the movie. There was the opening score song with a cartoon or whatever, and that was part of the 11 songs that I counted, by the way. But there wasn't as much singing in the first 30 minutes. Like I think it was like 30 minutes before the first song that he broke out when he was in front of the TV,
right,
in the common area. And I was like, okay, like it's not so bad. But then it went crazy for the last
off the rails
hour and 45 minutes.
Yeah,
off the rails, and it was just mostly singing. And
but I mean, even if you take out all the moments that they even sung, like cut those scenes all together, you're probably looking at an hour and 15 minutes of runtime, and you could have put him breaking free and then actually explored what it's like for Joker to be Joker. And I get it. The whole idea is that he's not Joker, and we'll get into it.
Yeah.
But like, it's still just like, that's not what anybody wanted.
Yeah,
it's not what anybody was looking for going into a sequel to this movie. Not really like anybody really even wanted a sequel to this movie per se, and that's why it's not doing well as the word of mouth. But the fact that we got nothing in regards to the Joker being Joker, we just got a bunch of like flip-floppy back and forth between Arthur Fleck being a psychopath and mentally ill to him being dressed up like Joker and acting like he's doing something, and then in between all the musical segments.
It did display what a mentally ill person might act like, which is, I think, what they were going after.
And give all the credit in the world to Joaquin Phoenix. He killed the role again. He's phenomenal at it. He's one of the best actors I've ever seen, and these 2 roles he played in the first one and this one, I mean, you couldn't ask anything better. Like
he did his role. I just can't believe that he agreed to do this movie.
It's about a bag, dog.
Maybe, but I mean, he could have been tricked and was like convinced that it was going to work out, and he's like, "All right, I'll trust you yet again." But yeah, I we talked about this earlier. I wanted by the end of the film as well that Arthur Fleck to completely disappear and he become the Joker and kind of go full Joker at the end. Like, you're like, oh, he's the Joker now. And then the third movie is him masterminding gangster swagger and taking over Gotham.
But as I said to you before we even watched this movie, from the very start of Joker, the first movie, I was convinced that this man couldn't be a, underworld mastermind or criminal mastermind. Like, he was too incompetent and sick. It's like the Joker is sick, don't get me wrong, but he's a genius at the same time, and he has ways of manipulating scenarios. Arthur's always on the defensive and always getting kicked around. Like, he's never one step ahead of anything. So like that entire first movie was all reactionary when it came to the things that he did, other than the Murray scene. But even then, he went into that scene when he was going on to the Murray show to kill himself.
Allegedly.
So again, it was reactionary. It was to kill himself too, because when he was sitting on his couch beforehand, he like was playing it out where he was going to kill himself. Like, that was his plan.
That's
and then he
true,
got set off. So like, he doesn't have any kind of like qualities of the Joker other than he has a cynical laugh and he dresses up like him.
Well, that's why this film would have been great to set that up and develop him to be more competent. And I thought it was weird because there were, especially early on in the film, he doesn't say anything for a while. And his first line, which I liked, was, can I have a cigarette?
Of course you like that.
Because I always fuck you. Yeah, I always bitch about there's not smoking in movies, and like this, that was his first line. Can I have a cigarette?
There's plenty of that in this.
Yeah,
smoking every scene.
Oh fuck! I lost my thought. Go ahead.
No, you're good. I was just commenting on that.
I know.
His first statement, he didn't talk for a while, and then he said, "Can I have a cigarette?"
I can't remember. It's okay. It'll come back to me.
I mean, yeah, the idea that you have this iconic character and you use him as a platform to be able to make something that you want to make, to me, is just almost disrespectful and to the fan base.
100%. That's obvious.
It's extremely disrespectful because you make these two movies the same exact way without it being Harley Quinn and without it being Joker and without it being, Gotham and all of the above. Without it being Thomas Wayne. Yeah, it would have been just the same thing, but it wouldn't have made any money. And that's exactly why they did it. And it's sad because, yeah, it's a good movie, but it'd be that like good movie that someone would be like, yo, you should watch this movie called like Fleck. And you'd be like, okay.
Word.
And you'd like
fuck with that.
And you'd like get to it on some weird night on Netflix and like all of a sudden be like, yeah, that was a good movie, and tell some people about it. But it would be a Netflix movie. And they knew that. And that's why they just took this and said, I have a platform.
Okay. It's too bad. I think it was a huge wasted opportunity for an awesome sequel. And then there's many ways they could have done it that would have satisfied people. Remembered what I was going to say. We were talking about, his state of mind and stuff. And I thought he seemed a lot less crazy mentally in this movie. He just seemed off rip, way more mentally stable and coherent in just his thought process. And I mean, he had glimpses as the film went on, but it was kind of, I didn't know if he was having a hard time getting into the character the same, or just like it was showing that he had, came to grips with things, and, there was all these things happening around him that gave him kind of, confidence. He has a book about him, a movie, and like inmates, some hate him, some love him, and it just maybe helped with his identity, and he didn't feel so inferior. I'm not sure, but did you feel that he was a little too stable at times?
At first, I thought it was the medication. I thought he was taking the medication, and that's why he was like more.
That's what I thought too.
Calm, but then he said to Harley Quinn that he wasn't taking the medication, so I don't know how long that was. Maybe it was only for a week, and that's why. And he did start getting crazier after that statement was made, so I think that could have been a part of it. Yeah. But yeah, he got raped.
Yeah, like, did he get raped?
He did. Yeah, definitely, 100%.
Okay, so
which is just like so unnecessary.
Yeah, and the kiss too.
Yeah, the kiss
in the yard. They're like, that guy, that little dude.
Yeah, when he kissed the dude.
Which I think just like what they were trying to go for, I think was just like his, like the dynamic between the guards and him and how he didn't care. But like, why did it have to be like him kissing this dude? Like it was, I mean, he didn't go tongue with it, but it still was just like, there was other ways to go and emphasize what you're trying to say. Right. Like guards have power. He's beat down, whatever. You know what I mean? Like it just was a weird way to go about it. And yet again, same dynamic with the guards thing, like to show their dominance. Like, why couldn't he just get beat up? Why can't we keep it traditional? Just beat up.
Water torture. There's.
I always thought waterboarding would have been.
Yeah, like there's so many other things. You could like shave his head off, make him. You know what I mean? There's so many other things you could have done to him to make him not
get raped.
Yeah,
like it was like, why is he getting raped? Like
it was really strange.
You know what made me? And I said this to you. I was like, you know, it's rape because the guard took his hat off, and people, you got to take your hat off when you rape. That's a clear rape sign. You don't keep your hat on when you're raping. But it was just like awkward,
and also even more awkward that they didn't just like make it clear. They were like they showed it, but then they cut it and they didn't make it clear. Like I would have thought it would have been awesome when he went on the stand for his defense. And this isn't really like Arthur Fleck because he never really just says outright what happened to him. Like even on the Murray show, he didn't like explicitly just say that those guys were beating his ass. That's why he killed him. He could have.
He did at one point during the court. He did.
No, I know. I just meant in the first film. But like in this one, it would have been sick if he just sat on the defendant stand. It was just like, you know, I'm not Joker. I'm Arthur Fleck. I got raped by the guards.
I thought he was going to bring out the rape thing because I was like, oh.
That would have been sick. I'd have been like, okay, word. Then everybody would have empathized with him more and it would have just been cool, but they just did it and then kind of like dispersed of it in a second.
It was just unneeded.
So basically. Unneeded.
Like, how'd you like his tap dancing?
I didn't like any of it. Honestly, the musical sequences took me so far out of the movie. It was such a struggle to be able to get through. Like, it's so disconnecting from what the movie is because you have to really be a certain type of person to enjoy musical segments within your film and sit back and like feel that like, oh, I feel this, and I'm just not that person. Like, I'm not either.
Even the Wizard of Oz is like, there's moments where I'm like, okay, but like it's such like a iconic film that it just hits a little different, you know, and we talked about this off air too. Like the Wizard of Oz and the music mostly progresses the story. Right. They're like skipping down the yellow brick road, and they're bangers. Like everybody knows records. You know what I mean? Like lions and tigers and bears. Oh my! Like that's like come on. Right. And then like these ones, it's just like it felt like Lady Gaga was trying to get like like some more fans or something. But like the Joker fans don't give a fuck about Lady Gaga. And then it was her Harley Quinn aspect that it was just also like a lazy Harley Quinn attempt, in my opinion. Like it was a singing Harley Quinn version. And I just feel like outside of her not giving a fuck so much, she didn't check a lot of boxes for Harley Quinn at all.
I don't think she's a great actress, to be honest. And Todd Phillips did that movie with her being the singer, remember? Born to Be a Star.
I actually thought it was a great film.
Yeah, so Todd Phillips did that one, so it makes sense.
That he did do that?
Yeah. It makes sense that he'd bring her on for this because he's worked with her before, but I just don't think she's a very good actress.
I don't think he did.
Yeah, he did.
I'm going to check.
You can.
Yeah, no, I'm not.
Double check my work, dude.
Born to Be a Star is not like Born a Star? A Star is Born.
Yes.
He was wrong.
Well, you said Born to Be a Star. I just agreed with you. I forgot the name.
No, I was stumbling across my words, and you auto-corrected it like an iPhone and then claimed that I was the one that was wrong. Like, it's on tape. Like, everybody saw it. Bitch.
Well, whatever. Stars Born.
Director of this fucking movie is Born a Star director. Here we go, everybody. Here we go.
We're getting there. We're doing it.
It says that Bradley Cooper was the director.
Bradley Cooper was a part of the film. Maybe he was director. Maybe Todd Phillips produced it.
Todd Phillips doesn't have... yeah, he produced it. Which is not directing.
I know. Well,
so wrong on two counts.
We're both wrong. It's fine.
How am I wrong? How the fuck am I wrong? This is crazy, people. What were you saying about that? Her lip job? What?
No.
She had a lip job, right?
Oh, 100%.
I was like,
no,
damn,
I was
bro.
just saying, I don't think she's a very good actress, but it makes sense that since he worked with her in the past, that he would work with her again on a movie. But I don't think she did anything wrong. There was nothing egregious. It just was like, okay.
It wasn't the move.
And just the way that they just start singing about everything. It's like, what the fuck is the point? Like, why do you need to sing in every circumstance? And that was not something that Joker did. He'd have fantasies. He'd dance.
Which you could have used, like the court scene one was fine. and the show tune thing, the Joker and Harley show, like that song. I thought if those were the only two that they had, I thought it would have added well to the film.
Yeah, I think that the court one was probably my favorite, and I thought that in the movie. I was like, okay, if they had used like one of these sequences as like a fantasy thing, and he did that, I would have been totally okay with it. It would have matched the exact feeling of the first film, where he would go off on a fantastical dream in his mind and then
In this case, killing people.
right, because
with
remember he had the
Barbara
whole dream sequence where he went on Murray's show first,
and the girl thing.
yeah, and the girl thing. But the one on Murray's show was more accurate to like what these ones were like, because he was like, actually envisioning himself going on the show prior.
Full delusions for sure.
Full delusion, and like that would have made sense if it turned into a musical delusion. But this whole movie was taking us on this musical ride and stagnating the living fuck out of the plot. I mean, it wasn't moving at all. And I just can't wrap my head around the fact that I watched 2 hours and
18 minutes.
he just in 18 minutes, and he just walked around a prison for the majority of the film. And
sung. He sung in the prison at times. And it was just like, it was just too much. And
Goodness.
just because they were singing in the movie, it doesn't mean we wouldn't like it. It's just the way they went about it. Like there's over 11 like pretty much full songs, then other singing parts that just completely disrupted.
It was excruciating.
Yeah.
It was like nails on a chalkboard to me.
It got really bad. We were just laughing in the theater. It was just us in the theater. We were just laughing because it was retarded.
Oh yeah, it was just us in the theater. There was literally no
Rightfully so. I mean, it was
Monday at
It was
3:30.
3:30, but yeah. My favorite part in the film, and I thought it was ironic as well, is when Joaquin Phoenix told Lady Gaga to stop singing and just talk to him, because by the end of the film, like I said, it was ridiculous and disruptive, and it was, you totally agreed. It was like, shut the fuck up, stop singing, stop singing. And he like puts his hands over her mouth, and I'm like, just cover them a little more.
Like, just talk, don't sing.
It was
like that's what I needed the whole film. Yeah. Same thing after he had the Harley Quinn and Joker show, and he came out and he was like, this needs to stop. I've had enough.
Yeah,
I'm firing her. I'm like, yes, I've had enough too. Like, please, God, stop it.
Yeah, it's a bummer that they had to like completely switch the genre of film. Like, you don't switch genres in a sequel for a film that's backed by huge names in franchises, like Batman properties, and like, what are we talking about? Like, you're an idiot for making a musical from.
It makes absolutely zero sense to me. And we both watched the first film again in preparation of this, because we like to come prepared. And
sometimes. Sorry.
Just night and day in regards to like the quality level and the care and the story and the writing, everything. Like, the only thing you could say maybe was better in this film than that film was maybe the cinematography, but it was just extra. It was like you're trying way too hard to be cinematic. Yeah. The first film was like really, really properly done, in the sense where like you got the cool cinematic shots, but it was done in reason with the story. It wasn't just something that was like thrown in there for no reason. And it just felt like everything in this film was trying to be cinematic overly at all times just to get a pretty shot. And it's like, I hate that. Like, the story and plot and writing and characters mean way more to me than a pretty shot. Go talk to Zack Snyder about that. He makes pretty shots all day long. Guess what that did for him? Batman v Superman. Thank you.
Booty cheeks. I mean, that movie is better than this movie.
I would watch that movie before I watch this movie. Yeah, I don't know if
100%.
it's better. Like,
yeah, no, that's maybe bad phrasing, but you know what I mean.
But I would
like,
never put this movie on again.
I could never watch this movie again. And like, if someone, bullets in my head, Batman vs Superman or Joker 2.
All day, Batman vs Superman. At least there's
like,
action in that film. Like, there's something to watch.
Yeah, I mean, that's all what I was trying to say, I guess. Yeah. I wonder how Joaquin Phoenix feels about this film.
Didn't you say that he said he didn't like it?
I heard some shit, but people are like, this is what he's saying after the screening in the film festival when he was with Lady Gaga. He stands up, and people allegedly like dubbed what they were saying, where he was allegedly saying, I don't like it. I don't like it. And then Lady Gaga responds, you don't like it? I think it's really good.
Of course she'd like it.
It's a movie practically about her singing. Like, honestly.
Goodness.
That's why I'm surprised that he signed up for it. But, I mean,
I want to say...
No.
Okay.
I'm just kidding.
Well, I was going to talk about the end, so actually...
No, wait. I want to... Because what did you think about the sex scene?
I mean, couple pumps and out. Hit it and quit it.
I was surprised she didn't sing a song about it after, to be honest with you. And
That's so good.
I expected more out of Joker. I thought he'd have a little better thrust game than that.
He lost his virginity.
I just still think I thought that might have been his coming of age moment or whatever.
Well, the other thing is too, like, there was so much stuff that was left up for interpretation in the first movie, and this one they just like actually explained what happened. Like the whole abuse in his childhood and stuff, like they explained it in the first movie, but they kind of still left it up to like, we don't really know how bad it was. We know he was chained to a furnace or something and malnourished and beaten. But then they went into like exactly what happened in this movie. It's like you do realize some of the most interesting things about characters in films is the stuff that you don't know. And movies nowadays have this really bad tendency of thinking we want every last thing explained, and that only does us a disservice. Where is there left for imagination? Like you can't imagine anything. You can't create your own story behind something. That's what makes characters interesting. That's what makes Joker interesting. That's what's always made Joker interesting, is that we had no idea where he came from. We have no idea why he was the way he was. We just knew that he was the way he was, and you could fill in the blanks otherwise. For this, it's like they want to just lay everything out on a silver platter for us, and it's like that's not what makes a character cool. I'm sorry, it just doesn't do it for me.
There's different ways that can be done, but I agree with you on the tip where, you know, leaving things up to interpretation and allowing the character to have mystique, and you just, you know, you like him or her for reasons that are unbeknownst to you almost, and you just kind of appreciate them for what's been presented rather than like overly explained to like kind of just ruin it for you because you're like, I don't need to be explicitly broken down why he's angry. Like, I know he had a shitty childhood. You don't have to tell me the incident that like made him super sad and just like shove it down my throat. Like, they did a good job in the first one where they like say it's a quick little, they mention what had happened, but this one they like resurfaces and goes into more detail, and they just keep reliving it, and you're like, I get it. Like,
God damn.
I
get it. The other thing is like, I thought the movie actually was going to crack open in a positive way. Excuse me. Seltzer waters. I thought the movie was going to crack open in like a positive way when the side of the court got blown up. And I was like, oh, he's going to be free. Now we're going to see his true origin. Dude gets locked up in the next like minute and a half. I wanted to blow my head off. I was like, dude,
2-minute song before.
Oh, yeah, sorry. Stop singing. It was just like I can't wrap my head around the fact that we had to sit through a movie and watch Joker never get free and never do anything.
The Joker died in more than one way.
Yeah.
He died and announced his "I'm not Joker" situation, and then in the ending, which I was surprised by, he gets shanked in prison and allegedly dies. And the guy that killed him, they foreshadow and kind of show him before, and I thought he looked Joker-esque. Mm-hmm. And then, so when he killed him, I was surprised. And then the dude cuts his
mouth
like the Joker and had a Joker laugh. And it seemed like that it was these two movies were the origin of the Joker, but he's not the Joker. Which on that tip, it seems cool. If they did a third movie and that guy's the Joker, and these two movies was like an origin, and then this musical was like the farewell, like I'm at the end of my life and like everything's kind of weird and I'm just like in this crazy situation, and it just leads you into the actual start of Joker. I think that would be cool and would redeem this movie if they did a third movie with the guy that killed Arthur Fleck and he became the Joker.
So I agree and disagree at the same time. The thing that I disagree about is that this movie could never be redeemed no matter what they do, because at the end of the day, you made a movie that nobody wanted and was excruciating to watch. So my whole point is, yes, it would have been ingenious if they had brought us on this journey with Arthur Fleck through this movie and made us think that he was going to make that twist, and then but then you see him regress and you're getting confused, and then all of a sudden that's the reason it happened, right? Yeah, like because there was a different Joker, which you called, by the way. You said it before they even showed it that you thought he was more Joker-esque. In the movie theater, you're like, he's like more Joker-esque, and then he started cutting his mouth open, which was funny. But you can't redeem this movie. They're not going to get a third out of this. They're not going to make enough money to make a third out of this. It was like a last-ditch effort to be like, hey, sorry, we fucked up the character you wanted, but this is why we did it. That's what it felt like to me. It wasn't like it was like we want to make this movie so bad and do whatever we wanted with it and make this creative liberty come to light, but it was actually because it wasn't him, he wasn't the Joker, this other girl was. It's like that was like the literal how fast it came out at the end.
But like if that's what they did, it would be cool. But they're not, so it's not cool. I'm just saying, like, if you, yeah. My idea is dope, but they're not going to do that because they're
not going to be able to.
Yeah,
they're not going to get greenlit on anything else in this world.
And it would also be cool in that context where if Harley and fuck it, bring Lady Gaga back and she falls in love with him because he's the new Joker.
That would be the plan. But they would
well, I'm saying like that would make it like, oh, this is a cool full circle moment.
Yeah,
because she's like, I knew he was the fake.
That's why this movie would have been better as like a fucking epilogue. Like if you made it like a 30-minute epilogue to the original movie,
Facts.
And you took out all the music and you just made it straight to the point, and then he dies, and then you see the new Joker, you would have done better off with that. Yeah. You would have probably launched a second one into the stratosphere, or maybe a second film, a Joker 2, into the fucking stratosphere with the new Joker and the twist and all that stuff. Instead,
or it doesn't even have to be epilogue. It could just like continue on, and you like didn't know that this new guy was the Joker. And then there's like another 90 minutes of developing that character. So then the third movie is the Joker balling out at the place that we thought
that would be a massive twist if they twisted.
It would have been fucking sick as fuck.
In the middle of the movie, they just kill Arthur Fleck, and you're like,
and he's not the main character anymore.
Oh my god!
And then that dude that kills him becomes the main character, and you're like, yo, what the fuck, dude? I have goosebumps because that would be fucking so fire.
It would have been way better. Yes, no doubt, with no music.
I mean, put those two scores in, the ones in the courtroom where he's smashing.
Just one.
Just the smashing or the
yes, that
I'm
one
just saying, if you Todd Phillips, if you really need to put, don't do more than two. Those two ones were like tolerable.
Yeah,
but so the end actually was kind of good. I would say the end of Joker 2 is pretty good. Like, but the rest of the movie's trash.
If I just took that end and like slapped it at the end of the first movie, then yes.
Yeah. Like, because like Arthur Fleck is now the inspiration of the real Joker, which is actually cool. But it just was packaged so remedial, like dumb on every front.
You literally could, now that I think about it, your idea is better than this, don't get me wrong. The idea of doing the halfway through the movie thing, I think that would have been an epic twist, and everybody would have been like, oh my God.
What best movie ever. What Up creates the best script I've ever. Oh my God. Yeah, I agree.
But like, I think it would have been just as fine or reasonable to just ended the last movie like that. Don't even make a second one with Joaquin. Just literally show him go to jail.
It's not Joaquin.
Joaquin.
You say Joaquin.
Whatever. Joaquin. Don't even make a second movie. Just like extend that movie a runtime.
A second one.
Just extend that runtime another 30 minutes and set that up.
No, that would have ruined the first one. Listen, my idea is what you should go with.
All right.
Okay, moving on. So do you like anything about this movie?
Like I said, the acting was really good. Like like I said, I don't particularly think that Lady Gaga is very good at acting, but
fundamentally there was nothing wrong with the film.
No, I mean, other than I think the disruptive music. If you take the music out acting, and you just give me the movie, I'd be like, yeah, it's boring. I would have said it's boring because it's just a lot of the same. and not the thing about the first movie that made it so good is that it showed us the world. We're involved in the world that he was in, and we could see the world building happening, and we knew what Gotham looked like. We could understand the greater pieces of Gotham, what made it what it was. Instead, in this film, we just got like this really condensed world that we were in between the two places, and not even that expanded upon. Like, we only knew like 3 guards and like 2 inmates. It was like, Shawshank Redemption had a better, dealing with a prison sequence than this, and they proved it by just being more in depth of what a prison life looks like. Like, this is the same movie, but it's just not in depth at all. So you don't have that experience that you feel like you're really there, and you just spend too much time there. So it would have just been boring. Yeah.
For Joker 2, yeah, just the ending I thought was adequate if they pivoted or utilized it differently, like I said, with the potential movie idea. But so you don't want a sequel.
I mean, if they did one, I'd probably watch it if it wasn't a musical. If it was a musical, I wouldn't watch it. If they did another one with that new guy, I'd watch it, but I wouldn't be like excited about it. I'd just watch it, and then maybe I would throw away the second one altogether and just assume it never existed.
So it's not ruined for you. You would give him one more shot.
I have a bad habit of giving damn near everything a shot, except for like Marvel TV shows at this point. Like, I won't watch those. Agatha All Along, I won't even pick up and watch.
That's true. Marvel done burned that bridge. Yeah. They got to do some wild shit to bring us back.
Oh, what? Like make Robert Downey Jr. Dr. Doom?
That is so cheap. It's so cheap. I'm not going to go see that movie.
Yeah. I mean, I'll probably see it. I don't think I missed a movie of theirs ever. I didn't see the Marvels in theaters. But I just have a bad habit of being like, okay, I will check it out. Like, the worst one of those was Aquaman 2.
That's
so
why they're
checking it out of that was like,
oh my God.
I'd rather punch myself in the face than go back and do that again.
I'll punch you.
You could punch me.
Aquaman 2 was shockingly atrocious.
Oh my God, it was the worst thing I've ever seen in my life.
It was so bad.
And you know what? There's going to be people watching this right now that are like, I like that movie.
Which one?
Aquaman 2 was actually pretty good. You don't know anything about movies. I still love you because you're here. But if you like that movie, please reevaluate your life.
I hope my fans don't like that movie.
Just reevaluate life.
One thing now that we're talking, it makes me wonder why Todd Phillips was so adamant about making this movie. Like, what about this movie? But I know this mental illness is a highlight, and then the musical aspect. And I just don't understand why he wanted to make a mental illness musical. I wonder if he's got people in his life that may inspired him where he wanted to destroy and tarnish such a big property.
Maybe he didn't. Maybe the studio was like, hey, we want you to do a sequel. And they're like, what would you need in order to make a sequel? He's like, I would need $200 million. I need it to be a musical. And I would need every bit of the cast back for the next scene, and just hoping they'd say, "Oh yeah, we can't make that happen." And they're like, "Yep, greenlit." He's like, "Fuck, I gotta make this."
Well, damn. I hope not. I mean, but that would make almost more sense. To be honest with you, because I don't know what drives you to want to make a $200 million musical and ruin one of the most beloved franchises or properties we have out here. Like, you're like Todd Phillips. That was like a selfish act, I guess, unless someone forced you to do it, because that's fucking dumb.
I mean, selfish, I think, is the perfect word to use. And I think it's for both the movies. Even though the first one ended, the result of it was still good, I still think it was selfish. It was, I want to make this movie again, and I want to use the Joker to make it big. Like, that's what it was. And this is the same thing. And this just proves my point even more. Like,
did you say you said that on the...
I said that in the first one, and you disagreed with me. And I hope that now you see that that's exactly what it was, because it was even more prevalent in this one. It was like, I really don't give a fuck about Joker. I really don't give a fuck about this world. I really don't give a fuck about these characters. I just want to make the movie I want to make. And use the title and the characters as a way to make it more money and give me the budget.
And more people to see my work. Right?
Exactly.
I don't disagree with you. But I mean, it's just a bummer. I mean, the in between stuff we talked about fundamentally was okay between the songs, right? But naturally was overshadowed by the redundant bludgeoning of songs.
And they weren't even that good. There was no song that I can remember that walk away from and be like, oh, that was such a good song.
The only one that had some sort of catchiness to it was like "Joker is me" or what? I am the Joker. What is?
And that
it?
was the courtroom one.
No, that was. Was it?
Yeah,
it was either that one or the showroom.
Started with the light on him, and I was like, "Where is he?" And then all of a sudden, showed he was in the courtroom. It was the courtroom one, the one that we saying, "I'm the Joker." And so,
I am the Joker. Yeah.
That's the only one, and that was the only one we say we should have stayed. Everything else has no memory to me. I couldn't sing a single lyric of it. It wasn't really even. Excuse me. Wasn't even really like pleasing to listen to. Like I was like kind of cringing at the music itself the entire time.
They clearly weren't in. They clearly weren't in a studio recording. I'm pretty sure they sung those in real time because they sounded. They had to.
Not the ones that you could tell when it switched.
I was like just overall. It seemed that they weren't.
Yeah, there was times where you could see when it went to more of like a fantastical thing, it switched into studio.
Okay,
but like when they were just standing in front of each other, yeah, it sounded like they were just singing it.
Which Walking Phoenix, like I'm sure you trained for that, and I appreciate you. I make music myself, but like I'm surprised he signed up for this because it wasn't do that Joker song. It was the whole fuck is a musical, and it's just maybe he did want to do a musical. I feel like all those artsy actors, they always want to have their little musical shit or something.
The thing that I question is like as Todd Phillips, who's made some bangers. I mean, some big movies.
Not A Star Is Born, just to be clear.
Well, he produced it, so he still made it.
Okay. Oh shit. Okay, fucks with him.
But how do you think it feels to like make this movie
and be a piece of
and
shit.
walk out of it knowing that everyone says it sucks and that it gets bad reviews everywhere and nobody likes it? Like that can't feel good. It can't feel like you accomplished your mission unless he literally just doesn't give a fuck.
That's why I wondered if he had a gun to his head and like, you need to make this movie.
But who would do that?
Like,
the studio wouldn't. They know it's going to make no money.
I don't know. It just seems
and
illogical.
I don't think he would have came back if that were the case. Like why would he have come back and brought everybody back into this for this? And it's funny because you know what really gets me is they knew that people wouldn't like the musical aspect of it because the trailer has none of it in there. The trailer looks like it's all just a movie. Like, and they did that on purpose. There's no way they didn't do that on purpose. If they thought people would come to the theaters flocking to watch Joker turn into a musical fiasco, they would have put it in the trailer and showed like they're going to be singing songs in this. They didn't. It was just like a serious trailer. It looked like it was legit. And they thought they could fool people and look at word of mouth, overpowering your dumb propaganda.
But we're here to tell you, you can skip this one. It's probably better off that you skip it. So you're welcome. Skip Joker 2. It's not worth watching.
Yeah, or at least watch it at home so you can fast forward the music sequences.
Oh, true.
That would be good. In the theater, it was like, brutal. But
That's a good idea.
You don't need any of the music in this film to understand what happens and enjoy it. You could skip all of it at home with your remote. Click, 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 and boom. You'd have a decent watching experience. And it would only take 90 minutes.
Yeah, and I would love for someone to make an edit once the movie comes out.
Oh my God, please.
To cut the whole movie with no songs. Mm-hmm. I wonder what that would look like.
It would almost be like the opposite of the Lord of the Rings movie, where someone did an edit online of the Fellowship of the Ring.
And how many females interact with characters.
No, not that one.
Like female dialogue or something like that. It was
no,
really funny.
They did one where every single step that Frodo took, they replayed the segment that he said, "This is the farthest step I've ever taken from the Shire." It was like a 7-hour run time or something ridiculous because they literally played that. They played that clip of him saying, "This is the farthest step I've ever taken from the Shire" to Sam every single time he took a step in the movie.
Oh, yo.
So it's like the opposite of that. Like,
that's funny.
Cut out the stuff, make it faster.
That's good. Yeah, so I mean, I'm ready to. You ready to score this? You want to say some more shit? Because I'm ready to like. I think this is packaged out. It's good.
My final closing statements
Love it.
is please understand that you have people in this world who genuinely, thoroughly care about the characters and the stories and the worlds you put on screen. And if you use that to your financial or creative advantage, selfishly, you are a piece of shit. So reassess your life. You're not smarter than the people who created these things. It goes for everything. Lord of the Rings, Game of Thrones, doesn't matter.
Potter.
You're not Harry Potter. You're not smarter than the people who created these things. Don't think you are. You're not more creative. You're not more ingenious. If you want to adapt something from one form of media to another, do it faithfully.
Be the adapter, not the creator. You're the adapter. You adapt it.
Do it faithfully. Do it respectfully. And understand who your target audience is. It is the people who are truly fans of the content you're creating, not people who want to see your bullshit.
Amen.
So that's my closing statements.
I loved it.
Go fuck yourself.
Todd Phillips. Go fuck yourself.
I love you, Todd Phillips. You just fucked me on this one, but you're good. You raped me in the bathroom.
Pause. Shit. So quick plug. JohnXSmith.com.
Yeah.
Where people say what's up to you.
Hey, you already know what the fuck going on. It's John
here we
Smith.
go.
Hey, thank you for having me on the show. Per usual, one up. I really appreciate it. I always like getting out here and talking some shit about some movies.
Shit.
I am dropping a bunch of new music here coming soon. I've dropped a bunch of new music this year. Content's always dropping on my social platforms. You can get at me on Instagram at MG_John X Smith, or just John X Smith on YouTube. Just like a name. It's easy. And yes, johnxsmith.com.
You leave instructions. I love it.
But yeah, check out my shit. Tap in. You know I'm always bringing some heat, so appreciate you.
Yeah, thank you for being on this episode.
Of course.
I think we did okay. I hope that people fucked with it. Would you agree?
I think it was fucking phenomenal.
Okay.
Short, quick to the point.
I don't know how short, but I think it was pretty good. So I'm gonna hit Joker 2 with a 2.4.
I like it.
What you hitting it with?
I think I'm gonna go with a 1.9.
Wow. Was it higher before I said my number?
No, I didn't even think about it.
Okay.
But your number did help me process my thoughts.
Yeah.
But I didn't think about it.
No, that's good. You said that. I forget which one we were reviewing. I think it was Planet Apes movie. I said my score after yours, and then you were shocked that it was lower. You were like almost irritated, and I was like, no, that was what it was.
Yeah.
But anyways, yeah. So go check out his new shit that's coming out and all his things he has to offer, because he's obviously a pretty okay guest up in here, trying to give you guys some insight on some of the.
Okay.
You know, I appreciate the insight because, I think sometimes people need a little guidance. You know what I mean? Just in the same way when I said my score, I gave you guidance.
100%.
Which implies that I helped you or scared your score down.
Yeah, I mean, it was like...
Where was it?
It was in between like 1.9 and probably a 2.7.
Okay, see, so the truth comes out.
I probably would have landed at 2.3 had you not said your score. But so you can adjust accordingly.
So I did impact your score.
You can adjust accordingly if you'd like.
I'm just saying.
Either 2.3 or 1.9. I don't care.
So you lied.
Either way,
you lied on camera.
Oh fuck!
And I'm not cutting that out.
Please, Lord, forgive me for my sins.
Yeah. So, and I was trying to get the honesty out of you because that's why I asked the question. And then you had to throw in a lie and.
Yeah, like I said, I hadn't thought about it, and then when you said it, then my brain started spinning. So
listen, I'm glad I could help.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. But just be honest with me, okay?
For now on.
I appreciate you. So John Smith hitting it with a 1.9er, And your host hitting it with 2.4. That's Joker 2. I appreciate everybody for listening to the episode. I hope it was insightful, maybe a smidgy, and also helpful. Maybe just wait till the movie comes out. Maybe there'll be a chopped up version without the songs, or maybe just skip through on Netflix or whatever platform. It'll probably be on Warner or Max, the HBO platform, because it's a Warner Brothers property. So
that's where Joker is right now. Yeah.
But I love all y'all. Be safe, be well. It's crazy out here, and people don't give a fuck. And I will check you next episode. Love all y'all. Deuces.
Peace.